From hookups to blowups and everything in between, this is Reality Recap. We've got all the highlights, lowlights, and messy fights. So let's dish. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pam Unfiltered. These are the last two episodes of Love is Blind UK Season 2. This is episode 9 and 10. Episode 9 opens up with Matt meeting the women at the bridal store, and then you have Emma meeting the men at the tuxedo store. Emma says, this is not the norm that the woman host would meet up with you guys here, but I love a man in a suit, and I want to give you guys my opinion. We get Matt talking to the ladies, and he pretty much runs down his memories of seeing Emma in her wedding dress and how much more in love he was when he saw her. But then they both announced to the boys and the women, I should say the men and the women, that Katisha and Javen have left the experiment. They no longer are getting married. And I'm just like, shocker. Are we all shocked? These two have made many comments to the others that they are not in love with one another and they're unsure about getting married. So I don't think any of them cared, to be honest with you, right? Especially Megan after the whole thing with Javen probably a couple of days prior. So now we get Ashley talking into the camera about her trip in Belfast, how she's so concerned about Billy's thoughts on her job. He goes there, he tells her, like, listen, I'm 50-50 on marrying you, like I said in the other video, and it's because of your job. I'm really concerned about your job. I told you already, this is the last marriage that I'm ever gonna have. So if we can't figure things out about your job, I'm going to say no. She's shocked. I don't understand how she's shocked because I feel like this conversation has happened before, but they always sweep it under the rug. They never go in depth with the conversation on what's going to happen when she starts back at work, and then she's gone for these couple of days. He's over here stationed somewhere else. They just never have that deep conversation. Again, I don't understand why she's shocked. So now we get the women with their mothers, their sisters, their friends, and they're trying on dresses. But honestly, normally Love is Blind would show each woman trying on maybe 2 or 3 dresses. But for some reason, they didn't show that here. They just showed them on their final dresses. And I have to say, I didn't like any of them. I think the only one I would say okay to is Megan's dress because I like the simplicity of it. I don't like all the lace and all that stuff going on in a dress. The only thing I didn't like about Megan's dress is that it was A-lined, and I thought with her body type, I think a straight line would have looked absolutely breathtaking on her. But again, I didn't like any of their outfits. The men's tuxedos were very simple. I did like Cal's because he had on white. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Billy had like a navy blue one, which I will always choose over black. I love navy blue over black, right? So now we cut to the scene where the couples are coming out the apartment building. It's time for the bachelorette and bachelor parties. So they separate. The women go meet up with their, family and friends at a drag show, and the men go to a bar. A bar. How boring was that? Something they could do every day. They went to a bar for their bachelor party. But anyway, the women at the bachelor party, they're enjoying themselves. And then the drag queen, I don't remember the drag queen name, but he has them come up one by one and walking on the walkway. They all look so cute. But baby, when Megan get up there, she's like, let me show you how it's doing. She all dipping and doing to get the Mega Stallion knees. And she did a split. They just really enjoyed themselves. They're talking to one another, but however, we cut to the men where Jed is talking to his friends, and his friends are like, how's everything going? How y'all doing? And Jed says, we had a little disagreement. He said, we went out to dinner. Before we went out to dinner, I told her that I'm going to pay for it. Then it cuts to Barda talking to her friends about the situation. She said that we've been having arguments. She said, Jed told me, the same thing he's saying, Jed told me that he's going to pay for dinner. And she says, when the bill came, I just flipped out my card. She says, I don't understand what the big deal is. Cuts to Jed talking, and he says, I already told her that I was going to pay for it, and she did that, and it really bothered me because she was not hearing me. Cuts to the women, and she's like, I don't understand. What's the big deal? I pay all the time. And her friends is like, well, what did her friend say? I'm trying to remember what the word that her friend said about the situation, but pretty much like, you emasculated him. And for some reason, it's not clicking to Barda. She says, we had a discussion or the argument or whatever, and he's explaining to her why it bothered her, and it's not registering her brain. I don't understand someone like Barda who is this all independent person, because I'm very independent too, right? I think with Barda's story is that, her parents, even to this day, doesn't speak very fluent English. And I think when it comes to that, she had to kind of take on some responsibilities when it comes to her parents. And then, of course, she doesn't have anyone. She pays all her bills, and it just made her really independent. But I don't understand a person like that wanting to get married to a man, but think that this man is going to allow her to do all the things that she's doing. I don't understand how she thinks emasculating a man is okay. Why do you want to get married? I don't know. Are you looking for a lavender relationship? I don't understand. A man wants to be a man. And it's so funny because when she says she pulled out the car, she's still, from even that point, she don't understand why he was upset. So we cuts back to Jed, and he does say when it happened, he was really upset, but he didn't want to make a scene about the situation. Again, they had the discussion in the house and how it didn't register to her. And he's really concerned about, her doing those things in the future. So now we get Megan talking to her friends and how she's excited about the wedding. Even though they may be a little bit skeptical because it's so rushed, they're still there to support her. And I like that. A friend is supposed to be there to support you. They're not supposed to interject their harsh opinions on somebody they don't know. We're all independent people. We're all grown people. If you decide this is the person you want to marry, even if I have a little bit of opinion about it, I may voice it, but I'm going to be there to support you. So if anytime you fall, I'm there to catch you. That's it. That's the end of it. I'm here to support you. That's it. So then we cut to Ashley. She's sitting down and she's talking to her sisters. And, she's telling them what happened in Belfast. And her sister was like, listen, you are great. If he can't accept your job, maybe it's just, he's not it for you. You've really made your career. You've done very, very well. And again, if he's not accepting of it, he is not the one. Point blank, period. So next we get Billy and Cal at the bar, and Billy is voicing his concern about Ashley's job, and he's finally saying that he might say no at the altar. He's unsure yet, and Cal is letting him know, listen, if you love this woman, you want to be with this woman, you guys will work it out. You guys will figure it out. And I don't know, there's something about Billy that gives me he's a little bit of controlling. I don't necessarily think he's more of like, I'm man, you're a woman, you're supposed to be in the house. But there's just, I don't know, there's something controlling about it. And I don't know what it is exactly. I'm not too sure. I mean, I'm going to be really curious as if they're still together during the reunion. They probably are, but they're going to avoid some situations that they've had in the past year. But I don't know. I just feel like there's something controlling about him. There's just something controlling. But the bachelorette and the bachelor party end. We get them the next day. They're all separating for the next couple of days because they want to have some time to themselves before the wedding. So now it's the wedding day, and we first off get Barda and Jed. And Barda is in the bridal room. She's prepping before her wedding. They're both reminiscing on how they got together, how much they care how much they care for one another. But while they were separated, they had more arguments about what she did at that dinner. And this woman till this day can't understand why he's upset. That is not good at all. She says she loves Jed. She wants Jed in her life. She knows Jed's going to be in her life, but they seem to not get past that situation. So now we get them coming to the altar. The, what do you call them? The ordained, they're not a priest, but the ordained person that's marrying them, you know, they say their little spiel. They go to Barda and they say, do you say yes to Jed in this experiment? And baby, this woman is huffing and puffing and having an anxiety attack. And this is where the episode ends. So episode 10 opens up where we left off, where Barda hyperventilating after the ordained person said, will you say yes to this experiment? And again, she's huffing and puffing. They cut to her mother and her mother's looking at her like, say yes, bitch, say yes. And Barda goes, I intend on doing all the things I said I was going to do for you, but it ain't today. It's going to be a no. And when I tell you, everyone on the gas like, I don't know if that was like a soundtrack or it was actually the people in the wedding, but it was like, and shocked. And baby, I was shocked because I thought these two were definitely going to get married. She says, you know, I love you. I want you in my life, but I don't think that we're ready to get married. I still think we need to get to know one another. Her parents are shocked. Her mother is really shocked. She walks away and she cries. Her friends chase after her. And then she's like, I need a minute. She goes outside and then her friend Olivia follows her. And her friend Olivia is like holding on tight to her. And I just want to say this, because I voiced my opinions about Olivia in a previous episode. There's something about Olivia that gives off to me that she's in love with Barda in some kind of way. I don't know if they did anything together sexually, but she's just too involved. She's just too involved. I don't know. It's something off about their relationship that I don't think is just friends. And I don't know if they didn't have anything sexual, but it's definitely sexual on Livia's part. I'm sorry, that is what I see. But anyway, Jed comes out and he sees her out in the like vestibule with Olivia, and he asked Olivia, can you give me a minute? They have a conversation, you know, I'm sorry that I didn't say yes. I still want you in my life. I still want to continue this. And he's agreeable, but clearly he is hurt. They both go inside. They kind of separate, you know, he goes to his family. And before that, actually, when they were at the altar, his mother pretty much, you know, she was happy. Let's be real here. She was happy they didn't get married. But she was like, you know, it was meant to be this way. You know, you guys really need to like fully get to know each other. And then if it's meant to be for you guys to walk down the aisle later on, then it is. But like I said, I think she low-key was happy they didn't get married, right? And it's not to say that she don't like Barda. I think she just doesn't like the fact that it was being rushed. But we do have Barda coming up to his parents and apologizing about the whole situation. Like, I'm really, truly sorry. Like, I do love your son. I do still want to continue this relationship with your son, but it's just not today. And that pretty much ends their wedding. So now we have Cal and Sarova. They're prepping for their wedding. They're both excited. These two are not having any kind of doubts. Cal is being seen with his brother out in the courtyard, and they're having a conversation. He's like, are you ready to get married? Like, I think Sarova really is the one for you. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked that his brother said this, because remember when he was in the kitchen, he was giving his doubts. And then when he had his own little confessional, he was saying that he don't believe that these two will last. So for him to make this 180, I was shocked. And I know for Cal, it kind of eased his brain a little bit because he knew that his brother had doubts. But we do get them at the altar, and they both say yes, and these two are married, and I'm so happy. Congratulations to these two. I knew these two were going to get married, kind of. In the beginning, when they got together and Cal kept mentioning, you know, she's not my type, she's not my type, she's not my type, I was like, I don't know that. But throughout the episodes, I was like, yeah, he's going to marry this girl, thankfully. And them two going to have beautiful kids. But again, their story ends. They have their reception. You know what I like, though? I like the fact, because I was very curious as to why she wasn't wearing a traditional Indian wedding dress. But during their reception, she does change into hers. I didn't like it. I've seen way more prettier ones. But then I was thinking to myself, this is kind of last minute. So maybe she wasn't able to get something custom. So this is the best that she could do. But I was just all happy that she changed the dress. They had a reception in and they enjoyed their time. And again, these two are married. So now we get Karen and Megan. And again, they're prepping for their wedding. Kieran gets a visit from his mom and they talk it over. And I think he was happy that she was there because remember, he said in the past that his mother wasn't a mom. You know what I mean? And because she wasn't a mom, he was very needy when it came to his relationships. So I was happy that his mom was there to give him some encouragement. He was so excited to show her his hat and cane, which I just hated. I was like, why is Karen wearing this damn hat and cane? But that's what he wanted to wear and he still looked good, right? So then we get to their wedding. And when I tell you their vows were so beautiful, not one person sitting there had a dry eye. Everybody was tearing at their beautiful wedding vows. They both say yes, and they are married. They go to the reception. She changed her dress into something cute because remember they had the little dance. They dance was so cute. You could tell they just enjoy being with one another. Everybody at the reception was so happy. Everybody was smiling. I was just like, I love these two a lot. So now we get Billy and Ashley, and I'm just like, is he going to say yes? Is he going to say no? We do get Ashley saying like she's still a little bit concerned that he's going to say no, but she believes that she's going to be married to Billy. I don't know how you voice those concerns and say that, but okay. She goes into the bridal room and she's talking to her family about how much she loves Billy and that her job shouldn't be really that big of a deal. You get Billy talking to his dad and still concerned about her job, but he really truly loves Ashley. They get to the altar and Billy says yes. Billy says yes. When I tell you Ashley was so freaking happy because she wasn't sure if he was going to say it. They both say yes. They're married. They come out and they talk. And he's like, so what did you think? Did you think I was going to say yes? She's like, I don't know. But she's like, we're married. They're happy. They cheers. They have their reception. And episode 10 ends. And that is the end of Love is Blind season 2 of the UK. What are y'all thoughts on this season? I'm shocked that Barda and Jed were not married. I for sure thought it was going to be Cal and Sarova, Jed and Barda, and Megan and Kieran. I was on the fence with Billy and Ashley, and what a flip. I'm curious to know if they're still together during the reunion. Because again, their major issue is that she just can't let go of the reins. And you know what's so funny? I didn't say it here, but when she was in the bridal room with her friends and family, and they was like, oh, you seem so different. You seem so much softer. And I'm just like, she's like, yeah, I want the soft life. If you want the soft life, let go of the reins. Let go of the reins. Let go of the reins. I'm curious to know, maybe she didn't let go of the reins because maybe Jed doesn't have as much money as she does. I don't know. Maybe this stuff will come up. I was going to say out. Maybe it'll come up during reunion, but I'm really curious to see if these two are still together. Again, let me know what your thoughts of this season. Leave it in the comment section. And as always,